Hello ARRL members and QST readers worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, and I write the Ask Dave column for QST. This is the supplemental video for the April 2026 video. And in this, there's a question that came to us from Bruce Daggett, WD4DSV. He's in an HOA environment with no trees. His options are limited. He wants to know if he can run a wire along the top of the trees. So what we did to test this idea was we took a, what did you say, about a 30-foot section of some gray THHN wire that we got at Home Depot and strung it up. I've got a long cable. It's the cable I use for all antenna testing, and that goes all the way out on the ground to an MFJ 993B IntelliTuner that's sitting on the ground out there. Now you say, wait a minute, that's not a remote antenna tuner. It isn't, but if you put a battery next to it, it is, and it will work as a remote antenna tuner. From the antenna tuner, we took about a 30-foot piece of wire and strung it along the bottom branches of some trees. And then the last little loop is actually to the fence that's at the back that marks the boundary between where we are and the Billy Creek State Wildlife Area. What we're going to do is see, can we tune the antenna, okay, remotely? And two, how is it as an antenna, receive antenna, compared to our standard receive antenna, which is my step IR, big IR, which will work 80 through 10. And we're going to try this first on 20 meters, because that's a real common band to operate, and then we'll switch back and forth with the other. So let's see what we do over here with the radio. Now I'm going to turn this to the small antenna that we just put in. We're still waiting for this. There we go. Okay, we're set up for 20 meters. Now first, I want you to watch these needles over here, because this is our local SWR meter. You just saw them checking the frequency key. It is tuned to nearly 1-to-1 SWR, and it's putting out about 60 watts. Okay, so the antenna's tuned. This is what you receive on the antenna. You can receive FT8, a little bit of sideband over here. But now let's do something. I'm going to switch to the reference antenna, and I want you to look here as I switch. Oh my, you can certainly hear a lot more with the reference antenna, okay? Although, would that work? Yeah, there's some signals in here that you could work if you wanted to. Now, again, that antenna outside is not very long. Okay, so let's try it. There's no activity on 40 right now, so let's try this on 15 meters. And I want the CW. It's retuning to 21. Okay, 15 meter band right here. Let's tune it. Okay, and you can really see that thing bouncing around, and that's about as good as we're going to get out. We have 100 watts out, okay. The SWR is about 1.1 to 1, okay. Now we could also see that right here. It's a good SWR. That right there is S meter on receive and SWR on transmit, okay. Now remember, if you're using an external antenna tuner, you turn the tuner off here. Now let's go over to the reference antenna. And okay, it is receiving a little bit more. But since our piece of wire is fairly short, it actually tunes fairly well on 15 meters. So we're going to do one more, and we're going to do 10 meters. And I'm going to tune this to 10 meters. Not much going on 10 meters, I can tell you that. Okay, let's tune on 10 meters. This is our little short antenna. We're going to tune that, and you can see it's trying to find a tune in there. It found a tune. Okay, now that means we're going to hear a whole lot more. Okay, not much going on 10 meters. Now let's switch this to the reference antenna, and yeah, you get a little bit more. Not a huge amount more, but you get a little bit more. What have we learned from doing this? Okay, we put up an antenna outside, it's long wire, pretty short long wire. We put an antenna tuner right at the input to the wire. You noticed as I tuned the temporary antenna, the long wire, to lower and lower frequencies, it would tune. Okay, it would tune. But the problem is that it really is not a good antenna on the lower bands. Where you get up to the point where it's a significant portion of the band, it works better. On 20 meters, we were okay. 20 meter quarter wave would be 10 meters or about 15 feet. And we were longer than that. So we tuned up fairly well on 20 meters. When we went to 15 meters, it was pretty good, actually. Overall, it seemed to receive about as well as the reference antenna did. And on 10 meters, there's not much on. And what you could see on there was okay-ish. It was down a bit. The wire's actually too long to be end-fed on 10 meters. We tried 40 meters. There's almost no activity right now. Noon here in Colorado. So middle of the day, you're not going to see much on that band. Okay? So the net of this is, we put the antenna up at about fence height, just for fun. Now we had a fairly short piece of wire. You can run a much longer piece of wire. And we did not do anything special to ground the antenna tuner at the end of the run. Now, as you heard a little bit of a buzz coming out of the computer speakers on one of the channels, you realize we get a little bit of an RF in the shack, but not too much. So, will it work? Yes, it will work, but I really highly recommend a remote tuner at the end of the coax and before the start of the long wire, because the end-fed impedance on that thing varies tremendously from band to band, okay? Now, if all you can do is put it out there and sort of get it working on one band, fine. Amateur radio is all about experimentation. So there you have it. And until the next time we meet, please join the ARRL. It's the thing to do if you're a ham. And you get all of the magazines online. If there's one magazine you enjoy more than another, you can pay a little extra and get that magazine. This year I decided not to get the hard copy QST, and I find I read it better if I've got a hard copy. So when I renew, I'm going to go ahead and get the hard copy of QST. It's an extra $30. That's about $2.50 a month. It's okay. So until we next meet, 73.